and welcome to my 28th week pregnancy update. I know I say this every time, but my god, time is just going so quickly. I'm literally like 2 weeks away, well, I'm a week away now from being 30 weeks pregnant, because I always film these the first day of the next week so that I'm reflecting and able to look back on the whole week as a whole. And getting to 30 weeks is going to be such a milestone. But for now, I'm going to reflect on how my 28th week of pregnancy was, and hopefully it helps you guys if you are also pregnant and looking to see what to expect over the next week. So if you enjoy these pregnancy updates, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out so much. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I have a load of different things to talk to you about today, but not as many as my last update, because I feel like 27 weeks was a huge kind of just abruption of like symptoms and all these different feelings and things like that. So this video is going to be slightly shorter to last week's, but there's still plenty to talk about. And the first thing I want to kind of touch on is baby's movements. And it's so important to start tracking now like patterns in movement, when they're most active and things like that, so that if they suddenly aren't moving or you've not noticed them moving for a while, then you're able to kind of flag it before something bad happens. But at the moment for me, the movements are not only really frequent in terms of I know the patterns, it's always when I finish work and I get home and I just like sit on the sofa, she is literally kicking about and having a field day. But the movements aren't just like little movements anymore, they are like intense bulges in my stomach. If I lay down flat, I will see like a bulge of my stomach moving, and I can begin to actually feel like parts of her body, which is weird. But it's more than just a kind of kick or a feeling or a sensation. It's like physically you can see my stomach moving. I don't even have to hold it. I can see it. Rich can see it, and they're just getting so much more intense. And of course they are, because she's getting so much bigger now. But it's a really nice reassuring feeling, but then it makes you realise that they're only going to get a lot stronger. So I'm kind of scared to how intense they're going to get. But obviously you also have to give birth, so I can't forget that. Another thing in week 28, and this is kind of more of a negative, is that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Rich and I had found a baby name that we both really liked, and we were like 90% convinced that we were going to call her. Something happened this week where we've both just turned around and said, we just don't like it anymore. I don't know if we've overused it or whether it just doesn't sound right, if you know what I mean. And for us, we want a name that is like 100% perfect. And so now by going off the name, me and Rich like totally separate style of names. We cannot decide on another name to save our life. But we've just gone off of this one name that we both liked. So now we're back at square one, which is really frustrating, because Rich isn't one of those people that just talks about it all the time. Like, I always feel like I'm bringing up the name, and I've always kind of said, well, have you thought of any more names? I really want to have like a name in mind, because I think that it helps to personalise her a lot more, and it makes her kind of like you associate with her, as opposed to her just being kind of a baby. However, at my mum's this week, we went for dinner as my sister was home between going to America for the summer and then going to uni, so she was home for 2 weeks. And we went to my mum's this week, and Rich basically said to my mum that if we were to come out of the hospital and she doesn't have a name, then we can call her the name that I've always liked. And this is a name that, as like we found out the gender on the 22nd week actually, is when we did our gender reveal. Rich point blank turned around to me as soon as that confetti popped and it was pink. He said, just so you know, we're not having that name. And I was like devastated, because I always imagined having a little girl called this. But now knowing that if she doesn't have a name or we don't come to some kind of agreement, then I will probably be able to get my way, is amazing. So I'm now hesitant to bring up the name, because as much as I want us to find a name that we both really like and we like equally, I also want my name. So we'll see how that goes. And obviously if we haven't decided a name by the time I'm in labour, I feel like seeing me in that amount of pain and going through something like huge like that might help me get the name. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll obviously keep you guys updated if we think of anything else. I'm still tempted to do a baby names that we like but won't be using video, but unless we have a name that we've decided on, I can't really do it until we've got that sorted. So as soon as we have something 100%, I will definitely do that video, but for now we're still in two minds and it's so annoying, but hopefully this means that I can just get my name. Another weird symptom, I suppose, this week is that I've been having like the most vivid but emotional dreams. It's like those dreams that when you wake up, you don't feel like you've been in a dream, like you feel like you've lived it. It's really weird because I don't really have those types of dreams very often, but all of a sudden I keep having them like every night, and they all kind of centre around the family member that I lost not that long ago. And so it's really quite emotional, and I wake up and I remember every aspect of the dream. Like I could recite the whole dream, and I'm almost tempted to like do a dream journal because they are like really interesting, and I don't know if they have any like meanings or if my mind is just thinking about it because it was not that long ago so much. But they've been really, really vivid, and I know other people have said that vivid dreams are like a symptom of pregnancy. I myself had never really experienced that, but literally all of a sudden they've just like started, and they've like not stopped since I first noticed it and woke up and was like, bloody hell, that was a really strange but like vivid dream. So yeah, that's been really weird. I mean, it makes going to sleep a bit easier. I feel like I'm in a deeper sleep because I'm having these dreams, but I don't know, it's really bizarre. Like I said, because I never really had them before, I'm waking up just feeling like, what the hell has just happened? And I feel like I've had like a tiring night because in my dream I've been so involved, but it's bizarre, and I wonder if anyone else at this stage is also having that because they're getting like stronger and stronger. Another thing I want to touch on is that I had my 28-week midwife appointment this week. In the UK, I think that's like standard no matter what kind of baby you're having. Everyone has a 28-week appointment. And I mentioned in my, I think 25 weeks may have been my last midwife appointment, that the midwife that I normally have only works on Tuesdays, and she wasn't there at that appointment, so I was hoping that she'd be here at this one so that I could talk to her about a few things, and I had like a few questions and things that I wanted to just genuinely ask. But again, she wasn't here, so it's really annoying because I just feel like continuity with things like this is so important. But she wasn't here, and I had like another midwife that was different to the one I had before. This one was much nicer because I didn't know who she was. I touched on my last midwife appointment update that I actually knew the woman. She was like a friend's mum of someone that I used to be really close to, so it was just like really awkward and weird. This woman was really nice and not someone I knew, which always helps when they're like touching your belly and stuff. But it was again because it was like a new person. She's like, oh, how's it been? And I'm like, what, the last like 3 weeks? And she's like, no, like pregnancy. And I'm like, really? Like, do I have to go through everything? And I think she spent the first like 10 minutes of the appointment just looking through my notes. And I just think, surely you'd have them on like a computer system and like you'd just look at them. I don't know why it just feels so disjointed, and I just don't feel like I'm getting continuity in my messages, and by not having the same midwife, I just feel like I'm losing out on developing the relationship that I would really like at this stage. So that's been really annoying for me, and it was just a really long appointment because I spoke about everything so generally because she had no idea who I was, how my pregnancy was. She was kind of talking about being under the care of a consultant, but if you've been watching my pregnancy updates, then you would have known that quite early on I was taking off consultancy care because it was just about my platelet levels and iron levels, but they've all kind of increased. So it was just really frustrating, and I just feel like I really wanted to ask my standard midwife about the flu jab because I touched on this before, but every time when I was younger I had the flu jab, I would come down with either the flu or like I would get really ill like 2 days after. But like every year that I had it, because I had asthma and you're deemed as kind of necessary to have it, so my mum would always make me have it, but then I would always get so ill. So I wanted to double check with my midwife whether I definitely should have it, whether I shouldn't, knowing my history. And the midwife that I had just kind of said, oh, it's up to you. And I was like, that's kind of not what I want. I want someone to say, you need it because of this, or you shouldn't have it based on your background. But I'm just getting a like, oh, it's up to you if you want it. And like, I personally don't want to have it knowing that I got ill from it before, because obviously I don't want the baby to get ill, but I also don't want to not have it if it's beneficial for the baby. So I'm in two minds. It's so frustrating, and I just wanted to talk to my midwife and actually kind of just raise that. But now I've seen 3 different midwives over the course of however many times. And the last time I actually saw my normal midwife was 20 weeks. And the next time I might see her, if she is at my next appointment, will be 31. So it's 11 weeks where I've not seen her. So it's kind of frustrating. But I know I'm not the only one. And I know that these things sometimes can't be helped. But because she only works on Tuesdays, it's just a bit annoying, you know. But other than all of that, the midwife did check the heart rate of the baby, and it was at 140 beats per minute, which was really nice to know. I know that like before with like gender prediction tests, you could, I think 140 or over indicated one gender and 140 or lower was another. But it was exactly on 140. She also took my bloods again to check my iron levels. I've still got like a little bit of a bruise. Not sure if you can see that there. But that's kind of like almost a week on now. But I always bruise so quickly with blood whenever they take blood. So I bruised up really bad after that, but what's new? And they're going to check my iron levels and make sure that my platelet levels are still going up. She also got the results back from my blood type. I actually never knew what my blood type was, so it was really interesting to know that I think I'm O positive. Like I said, I never ever knew that before, so it's really interesting to know that. And I asked her about the cramps I've been getting, even though this week I've actually had no cramps, which is amazing, but I did touch on the fact that the week before I had such bad cramps that they would wake me up at night, I couldn't get to sleep. And again, like my other midwife that I saw last time, she just kind of said that there's nothing you can really do and just drink some tonic water. And I've not found that's helped at all. So yeah, that's kind of how that appointment went. I don't feel like I got much from it. I asked her about antenatal classes because I'm aware that I guess I'm drawing to the end of my pregnancy and I don't really know anything about what to expect, and obviously I have never had a child before, so all of this is going to be so new to me. But she said that the NHS antenatal classes are now £85, which I don't mind paying for that, but the only problem that she said, and I kind of raised this and she was like, oh, good point, was that with antenatal classes, obviously they are for you and your partner, but because Rich works nights and sleeps in the day, he'll often be asleep when those classes are kind of going. And I don't want to be one of those people that goes to antenatal classes on my own, because I don't want to be in amongst a room full of couples and not have my partner there, because I don't really care about if people make presumptions that I'm like a single mum, because I know I'm not. But it would just be nice to have Rich there with you, especially if you're paying that amount of money to do something like this together. I don't feel like I'd fully benefit from that. And it's weird that they don't do like kind of more drop-in type things, even if it was just like really minimal and it was just about like the most basic of things. I think I'd benefit from that, but yeah, that was the only real option that she gave me in terms of antenatal classes. And then there's like other private classes that have already began that would have been for my due date, but again the same problem, they were like of an evening and I would have to be in a different town. Rich needs a car for work, and it would just be a bit of a pain in the ass, and he wouldn't be able to be there with me. And I know one of my friends at work who is going to the private antenatal classes, she basically said that everyone is in a couple, so I wouldn't have wanted to have gone on my own. So that's kind of how this week has been in a nutshell. I also forgot to show you my stomach, so I thought that I would show you my belly before I jump off of this video. So this is my 28-week bump. I'm wearing a jumpsuit, so I'm not going to show you it like without clothes on. But I'm definitely like rounding a lot. It's really hard, and I can feel that she's down here. But that's how I'm looking. I also forgot to mention as well that when I went to my midwife appointment that they said that the baby was breech at the moment, so her head was at the top and the feet was at the bottom. But I personally feel like she's flipped around and I feel like she's sitting at the bottom. But I might be wrong. It'll be interesting to see where she's at 31 because she needs to like flip over in time for the birth. But yeah, that's kind of how I've been doing on my 28 weeks. I think that's everything and I've not missed anything. I have a habit of doing that. I hope you guys are feeling really well if you are also 28 weeks pregnant, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.